hot damn, you guys, the way that you make somebody feel matters. It's a really, really powerful way to get people to feel connected, to feel safe. Like, you got to be at ease. If you're on edge, if your nervous system is in defense mode, or you're feeling mad or like angry about something, there's no way you're going to say yes. There's no way you're going to become a client or a patient or a customer. I wasn't going to use his name. But man, like, don't be a dick, you guys. It's that simple. We had a very interesting experience this week walking into a house that we were interested in. I had reached out to a real estate agent regarding one house, and he responded to me and said, hey, I saw that you reached out regarding this house. And I was like, yeah, do you have time to tour it today? And he reached back and he's like, this house actually is already under negotiation, so it's not available anymore. But, I'd love to help you find something else. And I was like, okay, well, I feel a little bit like, that was a bait and switch, but also I respect the game. So yeah, here's what we're looking for. He found a house in the same area that was pretty comparable, had an even better backyard, which, for our pool loving child is very important. And we agreed on a time to meet. He actually had something else going on, so he sent another agent to come meet us. And this woman was lovely. She was a grandma. Her name was Sue. She had toilet paper in the car, which was great because our son had to poop at this house, by the way, which is just like
That's my boy.
Icing on the cupcake, man. Also, it was like 100 degrees. And so Kyle's just stuck in this bathroom sweating with him while he's pooping.
They had nice finishes, though. Didn't smell so great.
Sue was lovely. She made us feel welcome. She was answering our questions. She was amazing. And then this original realtor actually decided to show up and meet us. He, finished early and he came into the house. And while I had been the person that was interacting with him the entire time leading up to this, he breezes past me and quickly goes to Kyle. I was like, okay, that was a little weird. And then I was like, hey, man, we were interested in the other house and you followed up, and like, respect. Not a lot of agents would do that. They just kind of let the lead go, and the business owner, like, just trying to like build rapport and have, kind of a relationship with him. And he like basically ignores me and is like, hey, man, and gets Kyle's number to so that they can interact, so that they can have the continued conversation. I'm like, what the fuck? Is it like 1952? And I'm just, I don't know, chopped liver over here. So I'm just like starting to feel really shitty about myself and not like this guy at all. Also, well, no, I won't go on about what he looked like. But he had just finished a job. I overheard him say at another house, like patching drywall, which like, good on you, man, helping your clients. But he was like kind of sweaty and not wearing great stuff, and like showed up in like his, casual, sweaty patch clothes. Okay. So I'm just painting the picture here. So we're out in the backyard. We're talking about the process here with this house. And he's like, yeah, well, it hasn't even, and at this point we really like it. He's like, it hasn't even hit the market yet. It's still coming soon. So, they're going to have to show it. And, we won't even know if you guys are even like qualified to have this house, or if they're going to choose you, which again is like starting to make me feel even more like shit. And I'm like, okay, well, then I guess we'll keep looking at other houses. And he's like, well, I'm a really great agent, so I'll be able to help you find something else. And in my head, I'm like, I don't really want something else. I want this one. Like, how can you help me get this one? And so the whole experience and the whole reason I'm telling you the story is that the way that you make somebody feel when they are coming into your business, when they are doing business with you, matters more than anything else. And I will tell you right now that while I did not text this guy and tell him to lose our number, I wanted to. Kyle kindly told him that we found something else and we're not interested in moving forward. But hot damn, you guys, the way that you make somebody feel matters.
Fucking Preston.
I wasn't going to use his name.
What? He's not a listener of the show.
That's true.
I guarantee it.
But man, like, don't be a dick, you guys. It's that simple. But I think the reason that we wanted to talk about this is because it wasn't just this guy, right? And sometimes it's not so blatant. Sometimes you're not being a total asshole. You're just not really considering somebody's experience. And it's a really, really powerful way to get people to feel connected, to feel safe, to feel like you got to be at ease, right? You don't want to always be on edge when you're in somebody's business. If you're on edge, if your nervous system is in defense mode or you're feeling mad or like angry about something, there's no way you're going to say yes. There's no way you're going to become a client or a patient or a customer, you know?
I think the hard part too is like, okay, let's say you're with patients. This means that your team might be making people feel this way. They might be subtly saying things like, like their responses may be a bit standoffish, or, we've talked in a previous episode about the first what to expect, and people don't know and they want to feel at ease, and especially in that first like interaction or voice over the phone. And I think there's multiple areas throughout the patient journey at this stage where things can go awry.
Or be set up really well. Remember that time that we went to tour another house a few weeks back?
Yeah, what is it with these agents?
Yeah, so we walked into this house and this female agent didn't really give us the time of day. And I'm like,
she's just standing by the door at this open house, like just awkwardly.
I'm like, maybe she's just not very friendly. Whatever, we go and look. And then we see somebody else walk in, an older couple. And she was like,
with no crazy kids.
Hi, welcome. And like was giving them, just hit my mic, was giving them like the layout of the house and the history behind it. I'm like, well, that's weird. She didn't
even talk to us.
She didn't say anything to us. Yeah. Okay. Well, and then we like are coming back by the front door and she does engage us because our son was being crazy. Why do we take Rusty to open houses? I don't know.
Because they're on the weekend and we don't have childcare.
So, we start talking and she's asking where we live and we describe, we're over by the Orange Circle, which is where our house was before we sold it. And she's like, oh, are you renting over there?
Why would you assume that I'm renting?
And
Which
also,
nothing wrong with renting.
No, but what a pointed question.
Yeah.
And you could clearly tell by the way she interacted with us and the line of questioning that she thought we were not qualified to buy this house. So she didn't even give us the time of day. And guess what? We were qualified to buy that house and we very well could have, but we left that open house with a bad taste in our mouth, right? And even if it's not that house, how does that woman know that we have an agent or don't? She could have taken us on as a buyer's agent, right? And got us, even if we weren't qualified, a house we were qualified for. The point is, people are assholes. That's not the point. I'm just kidding.
Well, it's not the point. Yeah, I don't know what it is with the real estate industry. We have two examples recently from two different agents. But I think like you did this very early on. And again, thinking with the end in mind, thinking about the target audience, the ideal patient is a stressed out mom who is probably not sleeping well and whatever. So you said, you know what? I'm going to be the opposite of a traditional chiropractic or medical experience where you just come in and you're a number and, the nurse is like, okay, get on the scale. Okay, let's do your blood pressure. Okay, doctor will be in right with you. And then they don't come in for an hour and a half. And it's like, okay, how can we flip that whole thing on its head? And you're like, I'm going to lead with empathy. And that was, and still is to this day, the number one like company value that we try to instill into our team and that we live by. Lead with empathy. What that means is that we take a minute to pause and connect knee to knee with these patients who are stressed out and not sleeping, and they're worried and they're anxious and they're getting all different kinds of information from everyone on TikTok and their family and their grandma. And, we want to be able to provide that safe space. So I think we have to think of where are people at, our ideal patient, when they come in and find us, where are we meeting them in their story, in their arc? And then we have to try to reverse engineer and understand, if I put myself in their shoes, what are their current challenges? What are their current beliefs about my service, about chiropractic? I'll tell you a very common one. And if you go on any Reddit thread that mentions chiropractors, you'll see this, or a Facebook group, you'll see the haters come out in droves. But it is, if you don't take insurance, you are going to sell them something that they don't need. A year of this plan or package when I just needed one crack and I would have been fine, right? Says the dumbass on Reddit. But that is what people are seeing. That's what they're coming in with. So they already think you are this type. And so you kind of need to not reverse engineer, but we need to overcome their preconceived notions of what this is all about. And again, hearing them out, making them feel seen, making them feel heard, making them feel unique. They're not just a number, really helps to build that trust and ultimately change the way they feel. Buying is an emotional process. It is not logical. It's can I see myself here coming regularly? Do I trust you as the provider? Do I trust your style of whatever service it is? Maybe it's not chiropractic, right? Do I trust the transformation in the stories you've told of past patients that you've helped with my similar experience? Do I see myself in them as well? And you are the vehicle to tell these stories and educate them to, hopefully warm them up to sign on to care. And if we are unable to do that, if we, at any step of the journey, it's like, oh, that made me feel weird. Or they go home after day one, or they go home after one appointment, two appointments, and they're like, the more I thought about it, that guy Preston was an asshole.
Yeah.
He made me feel like shit. Even if I don't want to buy through him. I don't even want to talk. I don't want him to call me anymore. We likely have had some patients like that we don't know. They just fall off and ghost, and we ask them, hey, why don't you come back? What happened? And we don't get an answer. We have to, I think, take a hard look in the mirror and be like, what could we have done better? How could we have led with more empathy or taken more time to answer their questions? Maybe not brush them off or make them feel rushed.
Yeah.
These are easy ways to help put people at ease.
Totally. Yeah, I think back to the early days of starting the business, and it's funny because I think that most of the time when you are creating something that makes people feel special, important, like some kind of way, however you want to make people feel, you often use the counter, right? I think it's good. Like this is kind of just coming up for me right now, but I would encourage anybody listening right now, think about all the customer service experiences, businesses you've been into that didn't make you feel good. What was it that didn't make you feel good, right? Because when I started Verve, I thought back to my experience in the medical system, right? This is part of the story I didn't tell last week when I was talking about my founder story. But I had a lot of health challenges early on in like high school, gut issues. I was passed around to different doctors. You spend so long in these doctors' offices without anybody coming in to check on you. You're sitting on this crinkly paper in this really sterile feeling room. You don't know when the doctor's coming. You're there for an hour before they ever come in. And then they're with you for 10 minutes and then they're gone. Like, it's such a shitty experience, And so I was determined to create the opposite of that, right? When I'm thinking about this customer experience thing, it's like, okay, well, when somebody comes in with a partner, I want to make sure I'm looking at both people. I want to make sure I'm not giving attention only to one. Because if they are shared decision makers about the healthcare choices that they make, and I isolate one person, well, that's not going to feel very good for them. And they're probably going to somehow sway the other person not to pursue care with me. Right. And so it's like, let's almost deconstruct the things that made us feel shitty and create the opposite of that. Right. And so for me, it wasn't just about leading with empathy in those conversations. While that is one of the most important things that makes us different at Verve, it was creating a space where people felt at home. Because I didn't want them to come in and feel like this was sterile. I didn't want them to come in. I mean, it's clean, but you know what I mean? Not white medical, just like cold. It's warm. We have rugs. We have color.
Looks like a house.
We have coffee. We have water. We invite you to stay for a while. We have toys for your kids to play. It's cozy. And I think that I'm reading Unreasonable Hospitality right now. And if you haven't read that book, I highly recommend you read it. But, I think of some of the examples that they shared. Like they have couples coming in to celebrate special events, anniversaries or proposals or things. And they know that people don't always get the time to be able to take these special moments and celebrate. So they want to go above and beyond. So they come over to the table and they say, did you get a ride here? Did you take a taxi or did you park? Oh, we parked down the street. They would go find their car, ask them what kind of car they had, and feed their meter so they didn't have to leave their dinner and their special experience to go do that. Like, wow, what a special thing. And it's so small, but it's going to stick with that person, right? When you come in and you've got, things in your hand, you're used to being a mom who just like does it all. You're going to figure out a way to open that door. Maybe you'll, use your nose and like
For
do
the
the
love
handle.
of God, you can take multiple trips to bring in the groceries from the car. Is that what you're
No.
referring to?
Yeah, but like absolutely not. I'm going to be efficient here. But we have those moms come into Verb all the time. And my team knows you do not let that mom open that door and figure it out herself. You are going to run from wherever you are and you're going to go open that door because that is the level of hospitality that we need. If she's needing to carry stuff out to her car, you offer to help her, right? Like make people feel like you give a shit about them. And I promise you that will go so far. So what I want you to do is audit every step of your new client or new patient experience from that very first post that we talked about on the last week's episode, right? The what to expect. Do they come in and already feel comfortable? And then once they get in, does your team make eye contact with them when they walk in the door? Do they say their first name? Like, hey, Kyle, so glad to have you here. Like, you're in the right place. Kyle's going to feel at ease. Hey, Kyle, that couch right over there, you can wait right there. Can I grab you coffee or water? And Kyle's like, wow, I feel good. He's not wondering where to go. He's not, you know, whatever. Like, hey, the doctor is wrapping up. She'll be out in 5 minutes. He's got now an expectation. He knows what to expect. I think that is such an overlooked experience for folks. And I think that I'm going to die on this hill, but I think that this should happen from your Instagram profile, your website, the moment they walk in. But I think that sometimes we start with that and then it ends, right? It's like, oh, we created this really cool experience. People feel really special. We said their first name. We've got a chalkboard at the front that says, welcome, Rusty. There's a local provider here, actually a few that do that, right? They like name who's coming in as new patients that day. Awesome. Well, what about the next time they come in? What about your patients that are coming back after the report of findings? This is their first like regular adjustment. Do they know what to do? Are you just treating them like they've been here a million times?
Got your money.
Yeah, you're good.
You're good.
No. Be like, hey, we're so excited that you're in starting your care plan. Here's what to expect moving forward. Because the last time you just filled them with a ton of information about, their subluxations and where you're going to adjust and how many times you're going to adjust. And they were thinking about money and this and that. They weren't really thinking about becoming a member of your practice, right? And so now it's like, hey, every time you come in, here's what to expect. You want some water? You're thirsty? You need some coffee? Here's where you can find that.
You have a lot of thirsty patients.
I know. They're so thirsty. I don't know. That's like one thing that I think is bare minimum we should all be doing is like, maybe not coffee if you don't like coffee. Clearly, I like coffee. But some sort of like beverage. Make it like level up. Okay. Think about going to, I don't know, a car dealership or getting your tires done. They always have fucking coffee and water and popcorn.
Because it takes for fucking ever.
Why do they always have popcorn? Yes, but that's my point. They make you feel.
Always have popcorn.
They make
car dealership popcorn.
Do they do that anymore, or was that just when we were kids?
I know Rusty wanted it, and he was too young to have it, and then that was a whole meltdown.
Oh, well, it wasn't a meltdown, but no. But like my point is, you have to wait there, so they're going to make you comfortable. They give a shit about how people feel.
Yeah. Yeah, I know clinics that do a complimentary home visit after like a postpartum home visit. Is that a scalable process? No. But how awesome is that for that patient?
Unreasonable hospitality.
Yeah.
Things that people would look at and be like, you're going to go that far to take care of me? How can we get pieces and elements of that? And then I think also just the baseline stuff, guys. Make eye contact, know their name.
Yeah. And this, are you going to see a tangible lift in collections and revenue right away from implementing all of these things? Probably not right away. However, if we have a leaky bucket, there is no amount of ad dollars that can continue to fill that.
Mm-mm.
It puts so much strain on your acquisition systems, on your lead gen systems that are probably already limited if you're not in our program. Shameless plug. But we have to focus on when we do get people in the door, how can we make their experience a 10 out of 10 every time so that we retain them, so that we can get their families under care, so that they're more likely to refer us, so that it's like a no-brainer, no question. Oh my God, you have to come see Dr. Danielle. You have to come see my chiropractor. I will call and make the appointment for you.
The flywheel, just flywheels.
It starts spinning faster and faster and faster because you are going above and beyond. And it's all tied back to how you make them feel.
And you might be saying, well, I do all of that. Cool. Do you have team? Does your team do all of that? Do you have it written down and systematized to ensure that when you're not in the building, your team does that?
Yeah, remove yourself from the day-to-day.
Step 1 is you.
Do those things still happen?
Right. Step 2 is you in the room with a team. Step 3, and this is where freedom lives, is your team implementing your systems, making people feel the way you would make them feel when you're not there. Because when that happens, you have a sustainable practice that pays you regardless of whether you're adjusting people or there to manage. And that ultimately is what we want for all of you. So make people feel good. Don't be an asshole.
Don't be a Preston.
And then write stuff down so that your team can follow your systems.
Easy peasy.
All right, guys. We'll see you soon.
See ya.